Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. We have just a couple more minutes before the top of the hour, so we will wait and let people finish logging on here, and then we will get started momentarily. Thanks again. Okay, we are right here at the top of the hour, so I'm going to go ahead and get started, and people may still continue to trickle in, but they can join us as we go. So, hi everyone. Thanks so much for joining me for today's Snap session. My name is Kylie Bradbury, and I am Sigma's Community Training Specialist. This quick webcast is going to cover a few of the ways that you can connect with other nurses using the Circle, Sigma's professional networking site. Before we get started, I do want to mention now that you can ask questions anytime during the webcast using the GoToWebinar control panel, which should be on the right-hand side of your screen. If the control panel has been minimized, you can use the arrow button to expand it again, and you can ask questions by typing them directly into the questions field. I will do my best to answer all of your questions during today's session, but if we run out of time or if I need to research your question, I will follow up with you privately afterwards. Okay, I think that we are ready to get started. First, for those of you who are not already familiar, the Circle is Sigma's members-only professional networking site. You could compare it to some of the other networking sites that you are familiar with, such as LinkedIn or Facebook, but the Circle is built for Sigma members in order to allow for cross-chapter and international communication and collaboration. To access the Circle, you can just enter the URL, thecircle.sigmanursing.org, and you'll be brought to the homepage. If you haven't ever logged in here, you'll be prompted to use the login using your email address and password that you have on file with Sigma. If you can't remember your password, there will be a just forgot your password link that you can click, and you'll be prompted to reset your password. If it's your first time visiting the Circle, I definitely recommend heading to the Frequently Asked Questions tab, which is across the top of the page. Do that first and watch the video overview at the top of that page, which it's just a quick video that will show you an in-depth look at the Circle and all of the elements of the platform. Now, if you give me just a second, I'm going to go ahead and swap over to the live site so that we can walk through some of the great ways that you can use a Circle to network with your fellow nurses. One of the first things that you'll notice when you navigate to the Circle homepage is the discussions thread on the left side of the page. This is a thread of all of the discussions taking place in the groups that you are already a part of on the circle. This includes any communities of interest or work groups that you're a part of, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes, as well as your chapter's website, which you are automatically added to when you become an active member for Sigma. You can click on the title of any of these discussions to see the full thread and to reply to the nurses who are interacting on that thread. So this is a great way to see what some of the nurses on the circle are talking about currently and gives you the opportunity to chime in with your own feedback to the conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and click into one of these conversations so that you can see what a discussion thread looks like. So this is a discussion thread that was posted in one of the communities of interest, the nurse educators community of interest. And you can see here that this nurse has a headshot image, and you'll find this headshot image throughout the circle, everywhere you go. Anytime another nurse has interacted or posted, you'll be able to see a headshot image. So that is one suggestion, and I'll show you where you can update your own headshot and your own profile here shortly. But if you haven't already, I would definitely recommend adding a photo there so that when you are interacting with others on the circle, you can put a face to the name, so to speak, and let people get to know you a little bit better by your photo. I'm going to go ahead and navigate into this profile, and you'll be able to see that profiles include information about the member, such as their biography. It doesn't look like this individual has a biography. I'm going to go ahead and go into my profile so that you can see what a completed one will look like. So this is an example of a completed profile. This is my profile. And you can see that this includes information about the member, such as their biography, their school or profession, as well as any interests, certifications, degrees, or anything like that that they've indicated here in their profile. If you feel that the individual is someone that you'd like to connect with again, you can click Add as Contact, and that will send a friend request to that person, just like you would on any other social networking platform. And this is a great way to connect with other nurses who share similar interests, certifications, or areas of expertise. So if I head back into the home page and then back into a discussion thread, I'll use this one this time. You can see that, like I said, all of these individuals have their headshots. So if you want to add one of them as a friend, you just click on their profile and then you can click Add as Contact. And again, that will just send them a friend request that they can accept. And then once they've accepted it, they will be connected to you on the circle. And I'll show you where you can find them once they're connected to you here shortly. Once you've sent a friend request to a fellow nurse and that nurse has accepted the request, you can navigate to your own profile to view them in your list of connections. So to go to your own profile, you can anywhere on the circle find your own headshot in the top right corner of the screen here. And then if you click the drop down arrow directly next to it and then select profile, it'll take you into your own profile, which is, again, this is my profile, which I showed you just a few minutes ago. And once you've sent a friend request to a fellow nurse and that nurse has accepted the request, you can navigate here and you can view them in your list of connections. So you'll just go to your profile and you'll go to My Connections, and then underneath My Connections, you'll select Contact. So if you scroll all the way down, you'll see a list of all of the nurses that you've already connected with on the circle. So these are individuals who maybe sent you a friend request and you've accepted them, or vice versa. You have sent them a friend request and they've accepted you. So this is essentially your friends list. This is where you can go once you've connected with nurses to find them again, to reach out to them if you'd like to view their profiles, just to connect with those individuals that you have similar interests with on the circle. The system also uses a sort of algorithm based on your interactions on the circle to give you some suggestions of people that you may already know in person, which you'll see here just above your list of contacts. So you can see this people you may know section right here on the screen. And again, it's an algorithm that the Circle uses, so it may not always be perfect. You may not always know those individuals, but if you do find somebody that you know, there is a purple request contact button so that you can just directly connect with that person. And again, when you click that button, it will send them a connection request that they can accept and add you as a contact on their page. And like I mentioned earlier, when you've got a moment, you're going to want to make sure that you fill out your own profile, including your biography, your education information, your job history, interests, and more. By completing these sections, you do make it easier for nurses with similar backgrounds and like interests to find you using the search function, which we will talk about here shortly. You can make edits to your profile by clicking the pencil icon beside any of these sections that you want to make an edit to. And if you've never added to a specific section of your profile before, you will see a blue add button there that you can click add and then move forward with adding a piece of content to your own profile. And again, you can get to your profile from anywhere on the circle just from clicking this drop down menu on the right side of the page and selecting profile, and it will bring you in here directly to your own profile. Once you've filled out your own important information on your circle, you can navigate back to your connections tab and then select networks. This is another really cool feature for connecting with your fellow nurses on the circle. You can see that this tool allows you to find nurses who share similarities with you, such as location, job history, company, areas of interest, and multiple other things. And you can see, just as an example, I am located in the Indianapolis area. And when you look at the city underneath Indianapolis, which is where I've got my location set on my profile, you can see that there are not quite 4,500 members who share that location with me. So what is really neat about this feature is I can click on that button and it will take me to a list of individuals who have also indicated that they are from the Indianapolis area. So this can kind of help you connect with people that you already know personally or connect with people based on common interests or common backgrounds. And again, just like the other parts of the website, if you find someone here that you do want to connect with, you can just click add as contact just directly to the right of their information. If you want to send them a message to introduce yourself or to ask a question, you can do that as well just by clicking the send message button. Another tip for connecting with other nurses is to join a community of interest, which I kind of touched on at the beginning of the presentation. So I'm going to head back to the home page of the Circle. And you can find communities of interest by going to the Groups tab and then going to All Groups. So if you're not already a member of any of these communities of interest, that's how you'll get there. So you'll go to Groups and then All Groups, and then you'll see that there's a filter right here. And you can click the drop-down menu underneath all group types and select communities of interest to filter out any of the other groups that are within a circle, and that could include other chapter websites or leadership groups or things like that that you don't necessarily have access to. But you do automatically have access to all of the communities of interest. All you need to do is filter them using the community of interest option, and then you'll be able to join them from this page. I'm already a member of all of the communities of interest, so that's why you don't see a join button here, but you will be able to access these communities and join them from this page if you haven't already. Now, if you have already joined a community of interest, you'll be able to skip this step, so to speak, and find them under your own group. So again, you'll click the Groups tab, and then you'll select My Groups. So the My Groups page is really helpful because, again, it's going to bring you to the page of all of the communities of interest that you've already joined, as well as your chapter website. So you'll always be able to find your own chapter's website listed here. And then if you're in any other groups, if you're a chapter leader or anything along those lines, you'll be able to find groups relative to those titles and positions as well here in your My Groups tab. There are currently 18 communities of interest with topics ranging from ambulatory care to pediatrics to nurse educators. And You again can join any of them, or as few or as many as them as you want. So if you're particularly interested in cardiovascular care or pediatrics care, you can pick and choose which groups that you want to be a part of and which groups that you want to participate in as a member. Within the communities of interest, just like on the Circle homepage, you're going to find the most active part of the site is going to be this discussions thread. So if you scroll down just a little bit of ways, you're going to find a discussion thread in this group that is specific to this community of interest. So I am in the ambulatory care community of interest right now, and you can see that there is a discussion thread with various topics and conversations taking place here. This is where members are going to come to post questions, share information with one another, and engage just in general conversation with one another. And once you've joined the communities of interest that you want, I definitely recommend taking a look at this discussion forum and seeing if there's a topic that maybe you can contribute to, either by responding with something helpful or even just by introducing yourself to other members of the community. And just like with other areas of the circle, if you find a nurse in any of the communities that you'd like to connect with, you can simply send them a connection request. Another area that makes it really easy for you to connect with other nurses on the circle is the member directory. So to navigate to the member directory, you're just going to click the tab up here across the circle homepage labeled member directory. This is a search function that allows you to find nurses by searching their names, universities, or email addresses. So this is a great tool if you meet a nurse at a local or regional or international event that you would like to connect with and stay in touch with, and you know some of their personal information. You can look them up directly and connect with them on the circle. If you don't have any specific connections in mind, you can use the advanced search feature right here. This part of the member directory helps you find nurses with similar experiences and interests. So this is the part of the system that will pull from your profile that we mentioned earlier and will help you narrow down your search when looking for people to connect with. So that's why I mentioned that it is really important that you keep your profile up to date with your background, your location, your job, your education, all of that information, because the more detail that you have there in your profile, the more that you'll be able to connect with nurses with shared interests or activities, and they'll be able to connect with you as well. Now that I've shown you how you can connect with Sigma members from all over the world using these features like the communities of interest, the member directory, I'm going to show you how you can connect with nurses locally from your very own chapter as well. So to navigate to your chapter's website, there are a couple ways that you can do that. The first one I already mentioned. You'll always be able to find your chapter website under the Groups tab and then by selecting My Groups. So if you are an active member of Sigma, you'll be able to find your chapter listed here in your My Groups tab. The easiest way and the way that I recommend finding it is just by typing in your chapter's URL, which is very, very simple to remember. It's just your chapter's Greek name, .sigmanursing.org. So for example, if you are a member of the Alpha chapter, your URL would be alpha.sigmanursing.org. And you can see when I click that, it's going to navigate me directly to the Alpha chapter's homepage. And this is generally what all of the chapter websites are going to look like, obviously customized to the chapter. Your chapter leaders are in charge of updating these individual sites. So as long as they've been active in terms of adding their own chapter events, updating the welcome message in areas here, adding chapter news, you'll be able to find content specific to your chapter on your chapter site. Once you're on your chapter's website, you'll see that it does look pretty similar to the Circle homepage, including the discussions thread down here toward the bottom of the site. So you can see that there's a discussions thread right here, again, specific to your chapter. Here you can see discussion threads from individuals in your own chapter, as well as important announcements that chapter leaders have chosen to share here as well. You can see a list of all of your chapter leaders on your chapter's website as well by clicking the About Us tab at the top of the page and then selecting chapter leaders. Here is a full list of your chapter's leaders where you can see their titles as well as click into their profiles to send them messages or connection requests. So if you do want to connect with a leader who is specific to your chapter, maybe you have a question that's specifically related to your chapter or an activity going on within your chapter, this is an easy way to find those leaders. Again, it is on your chapter website, About Us, and then chapter leaders. You'll see many of them have already updated their profile pictures, so maybe you'll be able to recognize someone from a meeting. But again, this is where you can go to connect with all of those individuals. Finally, you can find a full member directory for your chapter by clicking on the Members tab at the top of the page. So directly next to the About Us tab is the Members tab. When you click on that, you'll see that there is a Chapter Members option. So when you click on that, it will bring you to a list of all of the existing members in your chapter. So just like with the other areas, this is going to be where you can connect with individuals, and these are people that you're probably even more likely to know in person because they are associated with your specific chapter. But you can go through here and you can find any of the members that you're looking for, connect with anybody that you're looking for right here just by hovering over one of their names and request contact. Again, that will send them a contact that they'll be able to accept. And then once they have accepted, they'll be listed there in your contacts list of your profile that we went over a few minutes ago. Okay, I know that that was a quick webcast and it was supposed to be hopefully to help you just show some ways to connect with fellow nurses on the circle. I haven't seen any questions come through, so I did just want to remind you that if you do have any questions about what we went over today, I will hang out here for the next couple of minutes and see if any come through and try to answer them. But otherwise, I want to say thank you for taking the time to join me today, and I really hope that it did help you just learn some simple ways that you can connect with fellow people on the circle. And if you have any questions after today's webcast about the circle, your profile, or anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can see the contact information right here on the screen. Our email is mimserve@sigmanursing.org, and we are always happy to help you. Again, I will hang out on the line and see if any questions come through, but otherwise, I hope you have a great day. It does look like I've had one question come through, someone asking me how they might be able to find fellow nurses from South Australia. So I don't believe that we have the ability to search necessarily by world region, but if you go into the member directory of the circle and then do an advanced search, you should be able to look up people by location. So you could select Australia from here. And again, I don't think you can select like like South Australia, but you can select Australia, you can enter a city or a province information, and that should help narrow down your search a little bit. So yes, you can filter down quite a bit to find some members that you connect with, maybe just not specifically the South Australia region. But if you have a specific city in mind, you should be able to find members using that search. Okay, I don't believe that I see any other questions coming through, so I am going to leave it here for the day. Again, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day.